Hello, welcome to Learning to Drum. I'm your host, Adam Tevlin. We are in week 44, episode 41. Welcome back to the show. And if you remember last week, we tested the drag exercise at 90 beats per minute. If you couldn't get there, that's okay. And we also learned a new rudiment, the 5-stroke roll, which is our last rudiment that we'll learn for the season. And hopefully you're doing okay on that. And we also learned a new time signature in study number 20, right? It's 12/8 time. And I think I took that a little bit too fast for you folks. So you can always slow that down to your liking. And we were just, of course, limited on time. So welcome back to the show. And if this is your first time, go back to episode 1. No big deal. All right. So this week, what we're going to do is not study number 21. We're actually going to do 2 new exercises, which is the triplet drag and the triplet roll. So if we turn to page 46, if I can see that correctly, I think next season I might be having glasses on, I'm not sure. All right, so the first exercise actually is the triplet roll. Much like in our digga-digga-dars, okay, we have now a triplet-based exercise to practice our triplet-based rolls, right? Okay, so that's the kind of mentality that we're thinking here, okay? Digga-digga-dars was all 16th note based. In other words, you'd play 16th notes and then roll in that same fashion of the 16th notes, okay? That same speed. So the same kind of concept applies here to this triplet roll exercise, to where we're playing our triplet notes and we're diddling on those triplet notes, okay? So think about it in that fashion. I think we'll be just fine. So we're going to break this down into 2 measures at a time. We'll go ahead and take it at 70. I'm in 4/4 time, but this also could be thought of as 12/8 time. So that's kind of the reason why I stuck this in here in between studying 20 and 21. So that way you can feel that, okay, there really is no difference if I were to have triplet-based rhythms in 4/4 time or 12/8 time. So all I'd have to do really, literally, is I'd have to take out the 3 and then just change the time signature to 12/8 and we've got 12/8. So no big deal. Okay, so the first 2 measures, very, very easy. Okay, now in 16th notes when we're rolling, we got it falling on the right hand, the beat, right? 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Well, in triplet rolls, we have the beat falling on every other hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want to accent, but you can kind of see or hear where that beat's going to fall, okay? So kind of keep that in mind. So the first measure would be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Here we go for the first 2 measures. 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, no big deal. Now, when we're playing that slow, it's not going to be like to where we're doing, it's almost kind of like, you do have that drop catch in there, but since we're at a slow tempo, you might have to stick it a little bit more. Just make sure that everything's even, okay? All right, let's go into the next 2 measures where we have a measure of triplet notes and then a measure of triplet-based roll. So we can kind of get the idea. We do 2 sets of triplets, roll for 2 beats, 2 sets of triplets, roll for 2 beats, and then we got 4, and then roll for 4, okay? So let's just do measures 3 and 4 there. 2, 1, 2, here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, roll. 1. Okay, no big deal. All right, now here comes the hard part. Okay, so the first measure of that next 4, or measure 5, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we get to the next measure, okay, measure 6, is you're going to keep that roll going, okay? So we got going back to 5, 1, left, 1, left, keep going, left. And then we're rolling for 2 measures on out. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that measure 5 and 6 there. 2, 1, 2, here we go. And keep going. Okay, no big deal. All right, now the last 2 bars are technically 3. As I said before, when I play these warm-ups, I don't end on that stroke, count myself off again. I'll just repeat the exercise until I'm ready to speed it up, okay? So I just wanted to remind you of that. So the last 2 bars, we're just gonna roll straight through, okay? Hopefully you're getting the feeling of where that beat falls at, okay? On the right, then the left, then the right, etc. All right, here we go. Last 2 measures. 2, roll. 1, 2, here we go. And there it is. All right. So that is the entire exercise. Let's try to play it everything at 70, and then we're going to try to play it at 80. I think we can do that today. All right. Now the goal is going to be 110. All right. So kind of the same goal as what we had with the 5-stroke rolls. Kind of makes sense, right? All right. Here we go at 70. The whole thing. 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. And there it is. All right, at 70. Now let's try it at 80. We are at 80. A little bit easier. We can incorporate the bounce, drop catch, remember? 2 at 80. 1, 2, here we go. And it is at 80. Now I'm going to play it at 110. You don't have to play it with me, but just so you can hear how that sounds. Okay, it's test tempo. You don't have to play. 1, 2, here I go. There it is. Okay, that's the test tempo. At 110, that is the triplet roll exercise. So again, get the feel of that. If you have to, just go do either measure 1 over and over again or measure 4 over and over again, just to maybe get the, you can just do that with a click. Okay, and get the feel of that beat falling on every other hand, okay, during that roll. All right, now triplet drag. Much like the triplet roll and how it coincided with digga-digga-dars, the triplet drag exercise is going to be kind of coinciding with what we did with the 16th note drag exercise, okay? Just keep that in mind, and all this is doing is giving you an idea of what it feels like to drag on any one part of those triplet notes, okay? So we're going to go through this 2 measures at a time, and the first measure is we have a measure of just triplet 8th notes, right? And then we have the drag on the first part of the triplet, the trip, so don't trip. Okay, joking. Sorry. And then after that, we have another set of triplet 8th notes, right? A whole measure there. And then we're dragging on the trip, that middle note right there. And then we have another set of triplet 8th notes, and then we're dragging on the let. And then another set of triplet 8th notes, and then we're rolling for that last measure there, okay? It should be actually quite fun. And after we do this, I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so the first 2 measures, we're going to go ahead and break that down, 2 measures at a time, and you're going to see how the drag falls on every other hand, right? Okay, so let's try that. First 2 measures, 2, 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2. Okay, no big deal. We're going to go through the next 2 bars and notice how that we have the drag on the middle note there. 2, next 2 bars. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 3, 4. Okay, no big deal. The next 2 bars are the little hard part, okay? Because now the drag comes on the last note of the triplet, and you just got to realize where that comes at. Sometimes I'll say triple, and then I get on course, okay? But after a while, you start to feel where that downbeat is. So let's just try those next two measures. That's measures 5 and 6. 2, 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, triple. Okay, and there is the measure 7 there. So you might need to get used to that, all right? So next two bars, of course, are just easy peasy stuff. That's just, again, a measure of triplet eighth notes, and then we go and do the rollout, okay? So last two measures. 2, 1, 2, here we go. 3, 4. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. And now let's do the whole thing at 80. If you can't hang, that's okay. You might need to take this a little bit slower. As a matter of fact, what I would do is I would just practice this over and over and over and over again. Just practice this over and over and over again, okay? That's just one of the things that you can do to get used to this. Make sure you don't have any accents. You want to try to be as even as possible. Every note has to sound the same as best as you can. All right, so let's go ahead and do the whole thing at 80 beats per minute. Here we go. 1 to 2. 1, 2, here we go. And okay, there it is at 80, and now let's try it at 90. You want to try it at 90? The goal is going to be, again, 110. I'll play that for you after this so you can hear how it sounds. Not too bad. 1, 2, at 90. 1, 2, here we go. And okay, that's at 90. Now I'll do it for you at 110 so you can hear what that sounds like. Not too bad, for me at least. I don't know, we'll see. 1, don't have to play. 1, 2, here I go. Okay. All right, that is at 110 beats per minute, the triplet drag and the triplet roll exercises. Okay, so, okay, now, how can you have some fun with this? Well, so if I were to improvise a little bit, just like what we did with the 16 notes, it might sound like this, and I encourage you to do it, maybe at a slower tempo though. Ready, and... whatever you want, right? Okay, and also you can add accents. It adds a little different dimension to it, right? Here I go. No big deal. So now we're starting to get an idea of chop building stuff, okay? And oh wow, that person can play so fast and da 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 da. Well, there's a lot of cool things that drummers do to obviously sound really good, and when you go find out what it is, it's like, oh, that's all it is? Well, sometimes it's not always like that, but sometimes it is. Anyway, I want you to have fun with these drags in triplet fashion as well as rolls in the triplet fashion. Get used to it. Take my suggestions, take it slower, whatever you need to do, because we're taking it at your pace. And that's all the time that we have for today on Learning to Drum. And join us next week. We have some more stuff, more 12/8 actually, to do, and we'll review that 5-stroke roll that we haven't done today. So, all right, we'll see you next week, and always remember to keep swinging those sticks.